The Geely Coolray has been the undisputed value crossover champion ever since it entered our market last 2019. However, with more competitors now nipping at its heels, Geely has decided to unleash the full power of the Geely Coolray. Now what we have here is the Super Saiyan form of the Geely Coolray Sport, which is the Geely Coolray Sport Limited. Will this newest version of the Geely Coolray have enough chops to fend off the competition? It's time for us to find out. Let's do this! Hello guys, I'm Regan and welcome back to another car review. If you're new to my channel, I hope you click that subscribe button for your regular dose of Philippine automotive content. If you're my subscriber already, well, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show after you click that like button. Also, special thanks to Geely Fairview for providing us the Geely Coolray Sport Limited to do this review. If you have any inquiries about any Geely product, you may head on down there to Geely Fairview and check them out. For any inquiries, you may contact the person in my pinned comment below. The Geely Coolray Sport Limited is essentially a regular Coolray Sport with some added features. There are only 1,000 units of this thing available in the Philippines, hence that limited moniker. Now for those added features, it also gets a slight price bump. The Geely Coolray Sport Limited has a retail price of 1,218,000 Philippine pesos, which is a paltry 20,000 peso price increase. Now considering the added features that you're getting in this thing, that 20,000 peso price bump is well worth the money. So exactly what changes did this Coolray Sport Limited get? Well, when it comes to the front fascia, none. The Coolray Sport Limited gets the same Coolray look from that expanding Cosmos front grille to those full LED lighting units. It also gets that faux carbon fiber body kit here, which gives this Coolray Sport Limited that cool and a sporty look. Here on the side, we get the first major difference between a regular Coolray Sport and this Coolray Sport Limited. The Limited gets these fresh set of 18-inch blacked out alloy wheels in a simpler design versus the aircraft-inspired 18-inch alloys found in the regular Coolray Sport. These wheels are still wrapped in the same 215/55 R18 Continental tires. Now some other design carryovers from the regular Coolray Sport include these blacked out A-pillars here and this blacked out roof, plus this power folding side mirrors with LED turn signals and that faux carbon fiber side mirror housing. Now when it comes to the mechanicals, the Coolray Sport Limited gets the same mechanical bits as the Coolray Sport. For the brakes, we get 4-wheel disc brakes here, and for the suspension, we have a MacPherson setup in the front and a torsion beam at the back. Now the ground clearance stands at a healthy 196 millimeters, which is nice and tall for a sporty looking crossover. Here at the rear, we get another major change and improvement in this Coolray Sport Limited. No, we don't get a redesign of the LED taillights because these are still the same Wings of Time LED taillights. We still get the same sporty looking rear spoiler here, as well as those functional quad exhaust pipes over there that frame this rear diffuser and that F1 style light. Now the change here is more of a function. See, the Geely Coolray Sport Limited now gets a power liftgate here, and it even comes with a memory function. Now when you pop this thing open, you'll see that, well, this Coolray Sport Limited still gets the same 330 liters of cargo capacity, which is not really the class leader, but it's still good enough for a medium-sized luggage. Now the good thing here is if you need more cargo space, well, the back seats do fold down, so that should effectively expand your cargo capacity. The Geely Coolray Sport Limited gets the same engine that's found in the other Coolrays because, well, there's nothing much to change here because the Geely Coolray is still the segment leader when it comes to engine performance. Now what we have here is a 1.5-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged gasoline engine that puts out 177 horsepower and 255 Nm of torque. Now the power is still sent to the front wheels via a 7-speed wet-type dual-clutch transmission. Now, if you've watched my other Coolray review videos, you would know that this vehicle is a highly capable performer. Now, it always puts a smile on my face every time I get behind the wheel of the Geely Coolray. The Geely Coolray Sport Limited's cabin is pretty much identical when it comes to looks to a regular Coolray Sport, but it has one huge interior upgrade here. The Coolray Sport Limited gets ventilated seats, which is a big plus since we live in tropical Philippines. So now, Coolray Sport Limited owners will no longer have hot butts after they park their car under the hot sun in an open parking area. Other than that, well, there are no other changes here. It's still a beautiful looking cabin, still a smart cabin with a good mix of cabin materials here and there, plus a good mix of color. The Coolray Sport Limited still gets a two-tone black and red leather seats here, and the driver's seat still gets power adjustments. Now, the steering wheel is still leather wrap, and we have a flat bottom here, and we still have that hands-free buttons for connectivity and buttons for cruise control. Behind the wheel, we have a set of paddle shifters, just like any proper sporty crossover, and the wheel also adjusts for tilt, and it also telescopes. So no complaints there, guys. Now, when you go over to the instrument gauge cluster here, we still have the same fully digital instrument gauge cluster, which changes color and design depending on the drive modes you're in. You see, the Coolray Sport Limited has 3 drive modes. We have an Eco, a Normal, and a Sport mode. And I particularly like the format of Sport mode because it evokes that Lexus LFA vibe for me. Now, moving from that digital instrument gauge cluster, we have here your infotainment system, where I really wish that in this limited trim, they made a few improvements as well. However, it's still the same infotainment system here. We have a 10.25-inch touchscreen infotainment system with that gorgeous 360-degree view camera display with a 3D function. But guys, we still have to make do with smartphone mirroring here. It still doesn't get Apple CarPlay, it still doesn't get Android Auto, and I am really wondering why. It's one huge upgrade that they could have put here, at least here in the Coolray Sport Limited trim. Still, well, it is a decent infotainment system if you're just okay with smartphone mirroring. Now, I know that there's a hack to put in Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in this thing, but I prefer to get it straight from the factory and keep my warranty intact. Thank you very much. Now, let's go down to the climate control system here. We still have a single zone, fully automatic climate control system, and we have that joystick style electronic gear shifter, plus that row of buttons that control your drive modes, and also that button for your self-parking system. It's a system that, honestly guys, I don't really see any use. Well, but then again, I am a Tito of Manila, and I will never admit to needing the assistance of a self-parking feature. Now, beside that, we have your electronic park brake with an auto-hold button, plus we have a couple of cup holders, which I will subject to my clean canteen test. As you can see, okay, nope, sorry. Yeah, the cup holders are not really that big. It will not fit my clean canteen. It's a little tight, so it fails my clean canteen test. Now, we also have here a leather padded center armrest, plus if you look up top, we also have a panoramic sunroof, and if you'll notice, the cover of that panoramic sunroof in this limited trim is a bit thicker, so that should translate to a cooler cabin here if it's a summer day. Now, when it comes to the safety features of this Coolray Sport Limited, it's still the same as a regular Coolray. It still gets 6 airbags, it still gets ABS with EBD, stability control, it also has blind spot warning, and it also has lane change assist. Okay, it's something that you'd expect from Geely, because Geely owns Volvo, so you could expect that we're going to have a good amount of safety features. However, it is really not the class leader anymore, so there's that. Now, when it comes to the cabin materials, guys, well, we do have some nice soft touch materials here. We've got a red leather dashboard, we've got red leather inserts on the door cards, on your center armrest here, but we also have some plastics here and there, but they are beautifully finished in different colors and textures. The fit and finish, still phenomenal, guys, as what you'd expect already from a Geely product. And well, the Coolray has been around in the Philippines for 3 years now, so I guess the build quality and reliability question has already been answered. The back seat of the Coolray Sport Limited is identical to the regular Coolray Sport, which means we don't really get too much amenities here at the back. However, when it comes to the size, it's still the same, guys. I'm 5'6", this is my driving position, and I got a good 8 to 9 inches of knee room here, and still a good like 4 to 5 inches of headroom despite having a panoramic sunroof there. So the space is pretty decent for a subcompact crossover. However, well, the amenities, as I mentioned, is a little bit meh. We only get a solo USB charge port here. We still don't get rear AC vents. I'm really hoping and wishing that, with this limited variant, they would have thrown in rear AC vents, but that didn't happen. And at least we still have a center armrest here with a couple of cup holders. So yeah, a couple of rear AC vents would have been perfect for this thing, but we don't really get that. Oh yeah, we also have ISOFIX anchors, and yeah, that's just about it. Alright guys, so we're now driving the Geely Coolray Sport Limited. And I've driven the Geely Coolray several times already in the past, and it has always been a treat for me. For somebody who loves driving, well, the Geely Coolray Sport truly delivers. Now, since most of the changes done to the Coolray Sport Limited are convenience features, well, the driving character of this thing still remains the same. When it comes to acceleration, well, this Coolray Sport Limited still delivers the same potent acceleration response that you can expect from a Coolray Sport. Well, it's still the performance king in the value subcompact crossover world. So yeah, acceleration is really good. Now, another thing that I like about this Geely Coolray Sport Limited is that steering feel. For an electric power assist system, it's got a good, sharp response, it doesn't feel blunt, and it has a quick steering ratio. I also like that it has a good amount of heft tuned into this thing. So yeah, when it comes to the steering feel, it's pretty tough to surpass what the Geely Coolray Sport Limited can give you. Now, as I mentioned, the Geely Coolray is equipped with an inline-3 or a 3-cylinder motor, but the NVH levels is really good. It doesn't feel like we're piloting a 3-cylinder car. You see, the NVH is superb. You don't hear too much road noise outside, and there are no vibrations making its way inside the cabin, considering that this is a 3-cylinder motor. Now, everyone knows that a 3-cylinder engine would have a bit more engine vibrations than an even numbered motor like a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder. But yeah, this 3-cylinder motor, it's pretty refined. Now, when it comes to the cabin comfort, well, this Coolray Sport Limited now has ventilated seats. So that means that coupled with a very strong air conditioning system here, you're going to be cool and comfortable inside the Coolray Sport Limited. This is one of the easier subcompact crossovers to drive, and I love that about this Coolray. It's really one of my top picks when it comes to the value subcompact crossover world. At the end of the day, guys, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Geely Coolray Sport by itself is already the driving champion in the value subcompact crossover world, and this Coolray Sport Limited, well, it just made the drive even more comfortable because of those ventilated seats. But yeah, it is still the driving performance king of the value subcompact crossover world. The Geely Coolray Sport Limited only adds a few extra convenience features over the regular Coolray Sport, but that's just the thing. It's pretty tough to improve on an already stellar vehicle. It's like you're trying to buy a birthday gift for a man who has everything. It is that tough. Still, those added convenience features are enough to keep the Coolray Sport Limited at the top of its game. Plus, the fact that, well, you only add 20,000 Philippine pesos to get those features, well, I believe that it's a pretty good deal. Now, considering that there are only 1,000 of these units available locally, well, if you want to get one for yourself, you better talk to Geely Fairview quick and snag one of these. Thanks for watching.